I sat on the couch, browsing through images as if looking for something specific. I didn't know what. Not at first. Then I found it. It was fuzzy and overexposed. My face was slightly tilted, my mouth in that strange half-smile you get when you're going to laugh, but something feels off. My mother was in the corner of the shot, just visible behind my shoulder. Her face was near to mine, lips curved like a hook, and eyes focused. She resembled a different woman. Nobody else in the shot seems to notice her. They were all concentrating on Sarah. But I saw it. I saw her. I sat there staring at the photo for too long. Rick entered from the kitchen, drying his hands with a towel. "Looking through the shots?" he inquired. "Yeah," I answered without moving. "That one's cute," he added, referring to a photo of Sarah with frosting on her hair. But I did not show him the second one. I did not say anything. I merely quietly saved it in a folder labeled Evidence, all uppercase. The issue about mothers like mine is that they make you wonder whether your memories are your own or hers. She had a way of twisting things, so I wasn't sure if I was overreacting or simply underhealing. But this time, I had proof. I had a snapshot of the exact moment my brain said enough. That was the first picture I removed her from. I opened my editing app, the same one youngsters use to smooth their skin and whiten their teeth, and I started tiny. I cropped her out. I removed her shadow. Then I went on to group photography, specifically backyard images. The one where she is seated near the grill. The one where she's holding Sarah but not truly holding her. Arms stiff as if the infant was made of knives. Delete. Crop. Overcoat with paint. It became addictive, like cleansing a wound you were unaware was still bleeding. The following day, I printed 10 of my best photos and displayed them in Sarah's room. Every single one of them, beautiful, bright, cheerful, and devoid of Eleanor. Donna messaged me a few days later. "Hey, where's the picture of Mom holding Sarah? The one from the cake didn't come out?" I replied, which was technically correct. That night, I had a dream about a family portrait, but whenever I tried to smile, my mother would lean in and mutter something, causing my face to crumble like wet paper. I awoke to a scorching determination in my chest. I was not going to let Sarah grow up hearing the same poison I had. I was not going to wait for the next party, photo, or whispered slur masquerading as truth. I wasn't going to let my mother write herself into my daughter's story the way she did mine, with a harsh tongue and a crooked smile. And if she didn't want to love Sarah properly, she would not love her at all. I took out my phone and began looking through every album, memory, and location my mother had ever touched in digital form. And I started erasing her, image by picture, word by word, memory by memory, because revenge doesn't always have to be overt. Sometimes it is just a quiet delete. That's just where I started. There is a distinction between forgetting someone and determining they do not deserve to be remembered. And I didn't truly comprehend it until I was standing in my laundry room, folding a pair of baby socks that didn't even match, and remembered how my mother used to call me thick around the middle when I was 12. Not with malice, at least not in the way most people could see, but with a tiny tilt of her voice, as if she was diagnosing a problem that she believed would only worsen. And she was not wrong. It did. Not my weight, but how I carried myself. By the age of 16 she had upgraded the insult. "Plain," she'd reply. Sometimes in passing, sometimes in the middle of a conversation, as if she was doing me a favor by saying it out loud before anybody else could. I recall brushing my hair the night before prom, holding the curling iron too long on one strand till it sizzled, and hearing her through the cracked door exclaim, "She's just forgettable. Maybe it's the eyes." As if I weren't right there. As if I weren't attempting to obliterate myself quicker than she could. At 22, I told her I wanted to relocate across the nation, start anew, and possibly go to graduate school. She did not flinch. She simply muttered, "You were probably a mistake anyway," as if she were reading it from a grocery list. I did not cry. I just nodded. Because what else can you do when someone tells you the truth like that? You either let it soak into your bones or spit it out before it sticks. I let it settle. For years. But now, I have Sarah. And something about becoming a mother makes you want to either shield your child from the world or expose her to it, piece by agonizing piece. I picked protection since I was aware of how sharp the initial cut could be. and I'd rather she was naive than quietly bleeding before she learned to speak. So I dug deeper than photos. I dug up the old flash drives, cloud backups, and printed albums buried in drawers I hadn't touched in years. Eleanor, my mother, was posing next to me at my wedding with a tight-lipped smirk, as if she were watching a slow-motion calamity. I opened the image in an editor and meticulously painted her out. It took 10 minutes. 10 minutes to remove decades of her standing too near to me, clutching me as if she were allergic to warmth. Gone. I glanced at the shot thereafter, the space she had occupied now filled with light and air. It seemed better without her. Then I moved on. To the Christmas of 3 years ago. She informed me that if I didn't cut back on the salt, Sarah would most likely be born cross-eyed. She said it with a giggle, fork halfway in her mouth. I nodded, too tired to fight. She was no longer in the background of the photograph, replaced by the glow of the tree and Donna's toddler throwing a plastic ornament at the cat. I erased her from a total of 24 images, which is unusual given that we only had 13 visitors at the party. But she managed to insert herself into every situation, as if she was certain that no moment went by without her involvement. Donna was the first to notice. She texted me 2 days after I published the revised album online. "Where's Mom in these pics? Did she leave early?" I composed and deleted my response 3 times before I got to, "She must have stepped out when those were taken." Technically, this is not a lie, spiritually perhaps. Rick took notice next. He didn't say anything right immediately, but gave me the slow, deliberate look he saves for when he's deciding whether to hug me or propose therapy. Finally, during supper, he asked, "Are you sure this is the road you want to go down?" I gazed at Sarah, cheeks full of mashed peas, face plastered with love and innocence, and said, "I'm already halfway there." What I did not mention was this. If I had a time machine, I would not go back and stop myself from doing this. I go back even further and eliminate Eleanor from every birthday, every dance recital, and every time I stood in front of a mirror and despised what I saw, because she had given me the means to express that hatred. Late that night, I was going through my phone in the dark when I noticed the message notification flash up. One line, "No greetings. Why am I blocked from your daughter's baby album?" I stared at it for so long that the screen darkened. I did not respond. I did not need to. She understood why. She simply didn't want to say it. And to be honest, part of me was waiting to see whether she'd send another message, call, or even show up again as if nothing had happened. Pretending that I was the dramatic one. Like I'd always misunderstood her. Like her comments were never daggers, but rather innocent small remarks. But she did not follow up. She did not push. Because she must have known, deep down in her cruel little chest, that I wasn't flinching this time. This time I was chopping. And this time, she was not returning. There is a type of vengeance that does not include broken glass or shouted voices, and does not result in bruises, shredded garments, or tire marks in a driveway. It comes on slowly, like poison in a cup of tea, something that tastes nearly good before making you sick. And when done correctly, no one can track it back to you. That's how I began dealing with my mother, as if she were a silent infection that I was finally addressing after years of pretending I wasn't sick. Yes, it started with the photographs. But it did not end there. Removing her face from images was simply the beginning. Underneath that surface, the rot permeated everything she touched. And I wasn't finished pulling it out yet. First, I excluded her from the family calendar, which Rick and I used to keep track of birthdays, appointments, preschool visits, medical checkups, and holidays. I removed her email address from the invitation list. She deleted all of the events she had previously been invited to. She wiped away the repeated reminders of her presence. Then I altered the location of Sarah's daycare picnic, and only shared the new information to people I trusted not to share it. When Donna inquired as to why the address had changed, I explained that they were experiencing plumbing troubles. That was enough to please her. Nobody doubts logistics when it comes to infants. Everyone assumes that the mess belongs to someone else. Rick was watching me out of the corner of his eye, much like a man watches a lady who has started carrying a knife. I'm not sure whether she's defending herself or preparing something worse. One night, while Sarah was sleeping and I was lying on the couch retouching another old shot, he asked me, "Are you going to tell her?" I did not look up from my screen. Tell who what?